Most people go through life believing that in order to feel happy, successful, or abundant, they first need to get their desires met. They believe that once they have more money, the perfect relationship, or their dream job, then they will finally experience the emotions they desire. But what if this entire approach is flawed? What if the real key to shifting into your desired reality is doing the exact opposite? This is where most people get stuck. They wait for external circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel different, believing that manifestation works by attracting what they want instead of aligning with the version of themselves that already has it. But reality doesn't work that way. Your internal state, your emotions, beliefs, and focus determines the timeline you are aligned with. Every version of reality already exists, including the one where you are living your dream life. You don't have to wait for it to arrive. You simply have to shift into it. And the way to do that is to reverse what most people do. Instead of waiting for proof before you feel happy, you need to first feel good. Only then the universe will match your vibration. If you constantly focus on what isn't here yet, you reinforce a timeline where your desires are always out of reach. But if you embody the energy of your desired reality now, you shift into the timeline where it already exists. This is why people who shift timelines quickly aren't waiting for confirmation before they change how they feel. They decide to feel it first. Everything you desire already exists in another timeline. You don't need to chase it, attract it, or wait for it. You simply need to shift into it by reversing the process. Instead of waiting for your external world to change so you can feel different, start feeling different now, and watch your world change in response. In the next segment, we'll explore why keeping your desires in the future keeps them permanently out of reach, and how breaking free from this pattern allows you to shift instantly. Most people go through life believing that their happiness, success, or fulfillment exists somewhere in the future. They believe that once they reach a specific milestone, more money, the perfect relationship, or career success, then they will finally feel the way they want to feel. But this perspective unknowingly creates a never-ending gap between them and their desires. The more they see their dream life as something that will happen one day, the more they reinforce a timeline where it never arrives. Your external world is always reflecting your internal state. When you place your desires in the future, you create a loop where you are constantly reaching but never arriving. You are tuning into a reality where you are always on the way to success, love, or abundance, but never actually living it. This is why so many people feel like they are putting in effort but not seeing results. They are mentally and emotionally locked into a version of reality where their desires are always just out of reach. If you look closely, you'll notice how this pattern plays out everywhere. People tell themselves, "I'll feel abundant when I have more money," or "I'll be happy when I meet the right partner." But because their internal state is one of waiting, their external world mirrors that state, keeping their desires just beyond their grasp. The moment you shift your perception and start embodying the energy of your desires now, you begin aligning with the timeline where those experiences unfold naturally. One of the biggest misconceptions is that time is what separates you from your desires. People assume that success is something they will get to eventually, as if it's waiting for them down the road. But the truth is, all possible versions of your life already exist right now. Your future isn't something you move toward. It's something you shift into. And the way you shift is by aligning with it in the present, rather than waiting for external proof. Most people unknowingly reinforce their current timeline by focusing on what they lack. If you constantly feel like you're waiting for something to happen, you will experience a version of reality where you are always waiting. But the moment you recognize that you already have access to the reality you desire, you begin to shift. It's not about effort or struggle. It's about tuning into the version of yourself that already exists in the timeline where your desires are fulfilled. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending that things are different than they are. It's about understanding that what you focus on expands. If you place your happiness in the future is where it will always stay. But if you integrate that feeling into the present, you naturally move into a reality where your external world begins to match that state. The shift happens the moment you stop waiting and start being. When you stop reinforcing the idea that your dream life is far away, you allow yourself to experience it in the present. The timelines where your desires exist are already accessible. You just need to step into them now. Your emotions are not just reactions to your external world. They are indicators of which timeline you are currently aligning with. Most people assume that emotions are responses to circumstances, but in reality, they are guiding signals that reveal the vibrational state you are in. The timeline you experience isn't determined by external conditions. It is shaped by the emotions and energy you consistently embody. If you feel frustrated, anxious, or stuck, you are in a timeline that reflects those emotions. If you feel fulfilled, inspired, and certain, you are in a reality where those states manifest into external experiences. Emotions act as a bridge between you and the version of reality you are tuning into. They are not just feelings. They are frequencies that align you with different versions of your life. Think about the times when everything seemed to fall into place effortlessly. Maybe you received an unexpected opportunity, met the right person at the perfect moment, or found yourself in a flow state where things just worked. These moments weren't random. They were the result of being aligned with a reality where things unfold easily. The common thread in these experiences is that you likely felt good, confident, or at ease before they happened. Your internal state matched a timeline where those events could naturally occur. On the other hand, when you feel uncertain or doubtful, your external world mirrors that instability. You might notice delays, missed opportunities, or circumstances that seem to block your progress. This isn't because the universe is against you. It's because you are aligned with a version of reality that reflects those emotions. This is why trying to force external change without shifting your internal state rarely works. If you take action while feeling desperate or doubtful, you are reinforcing a version of reality where effort leads to more struggle. But if you act from a state of certainty, excitement, or fulfillment, you move into a timeline where your actions produce results with ease. Shifting timelines isn't about manipulating external circumstances. It's about using your emotions as a compass to guide you toward the reality you prefer. When you begin to see emotions as an active tool rather than a passive response, you reclaim control over the direction of your life. The key is learning how to stabilize your emotional state in alignment with the reality you want to experience. This doesn't mean forcing positive emotions or ignoring challenges, but rather training yourself to return to a state of certainty, excitement, and trust more consistently. Every time you make a conscious effort to align with these emotions, you strengthen your connection to a timeline where what you want is already unfolding. This is also why some people seem to attract opportunities effortlessly while others struggle despite their efforts. The difference isn't luck, it's emotional alignment. Those who naturally expect good things to happen and feel at peace with their desires are aligned with a timeline where those things unfold. Those who doubt, worry, or wait for proof before feeling good stay in a loop where their desires always seem out of reach. You don't need external evidence to prove that your desired reality is real. The moment you decide to shift your emotional state and hold that frequency, your external world begins to adjust accordingly. This is why waiting for circumstances to change before you feel different is backwards. Your emotions shift first, then reality follows. One of the biggest obstacles people face when trying to shift timelines is the habit of seeking proof. The moment they set an intention to shift, they immediately start looking for signs that it's working. They check their external reality for confirmation, waiting for opportunities, for their bank account to grow, for people to change, before they allow themselves to believe that the shift is real. But this habit does the opposite of what they want. It keeps them anchored in their old timeline. Seeking proof is actually an act of disbelief. If you truly believed in your shift, you wouldn't need to constantly check for validation. You wouldn't be waiting for evidence to confirm that it's happening. You would simply know it is. This is the key difference between those who successfully shift and those who stay stuck. Those who shift don't wait for external proof. They embody the new reality as if it already exists, regardless of what they see around them. Imagine someone who is trying to manifest financial abundance. If they keep checking their bank account every day, hoping to see a sudden increase, they are reinforcing the idea that the money isn't there yet. Their focus is still on lack. The reality they are energetically connected to is one where they are still waiting for abundance instead of living in it. This cycle of waiting delays the shift because they are prioritizing external proof over internal alignment. Reality operates with a natural delay. When you shift your energy, the external world takes time to rearrange itself. Think of it like turning a large ship in a new direction. It doesn't happen instantly. If you panic during that adjustment period, doubting whether it's working, you unconsciously pull yourself back to the old reality. The moment you question, why isn't it here yet? You are affirming to yourself that the shift hasn't happened. And because reality mirrors your internal state, it continues to reflect that uncertainty. This is why holding your state regardless of external circumstances is essential. The key to shifting timelines is fully committing to the new version of yourself before the proof arrives. You must embody the energy of the timeline you want, even when nothing around you seems to have changed yet. When you can remain steady in your belief, without seeking confirmation, you accelerate the shift. The universe responds to certainty. When you hold an unshakable belief that your new reality is real, you create an energy field that forces reality to catch up. The shift happens faster because you are no longer waiting. You are being. The trap of seeking proof often comes from a lack of trust. People who constantly check their reality for confirmation are still emotionally tied to their old timeline. They may say they believe in shifting, but deep down, they are still measuring their progress based on external results rather than internal alignment. This attachment to proof keeps them oscillating between timelines, never fully committing to the new one. So, how do you break free from this cycle? First, train yourself to recognize when you're seeking proof. The moment you find yourself wondering, where is it? Or when is it going to happen? Shift your focus back to your internal state. Remind yourself that the shift happens first within you, and reality follows. Second, practice unwavering certainty. Make a decision that your shift is real now, not in the future. Decide that it's already happening, even if you don't see immediate evidence. Your energy should reflect the knowing that your reality is changing, not the waiting for it to change. Finally, let go of the need to control how it unfolds. When you trust the process, you release resistance. You don't need to constantly check or micromanage the shift. Instead, you stay aligned with the feeling of your new reality, confident that external changes will follow in perfect timing. The moment you stop needing proof, you prove to reality that you've already shifted. And when that happens, the external world has no choice but to reflect your new state of being. Let's now dive into some practical methods to make sure you can start embodying the frequency of your desired timeline right now. So how do you do that? How do you trick your mind into experiencing a reality that hasn't yet materialized physically? The key is to engage your senses and emotions in a way that convinces your subconscious that your new reality is already true. The first and most powerful practice is immersive visualization. But this isn't about just seeing a new reality. It's about experiencing it as if it's happening now. The subconscious doesn't differentiate between real and vividly imagined experiences, which means that if you deeply feel yourself in a new timeline, your body and mind will respond as if it's already happening. To do this, close your eyes and step into a scene where your desire is fully realized. Instead of watching it like a movie, place yourself inside the experience. Feel the textures, notice the colors, hear the sounds around you. What does the air smell like? What are you wearing? How does your body posture feel in this new reality? Most importantly, how does it feel emotionally to exist in this version of yourself? Let that emotion fully take over, whether it's confidence, joy, freedom, or love. Another powerful method is acting as if. Your subconscious mind follows patterns and behaviors, so if you begin moving, speaking, and making decisions as if you were already in your desired timeline, you send a powerful signal to reality. If you were already successful, how would you walk into a room? How would you respond to challenges? How would you carry yourself on a daily basis? Embody that energy now, and reality will mirror it back to you. The next key practice is shifting your internal dialogue. Your words and thoughts reinforce the timeline you're aligned with. So if you constantly affirm that something is going to happen, you are placing it in the future rather than the present. Instead of thinking, "One day I will have financial freedom," shift to "I am aligned with wealth and abundance now." Instead of saying, "I hope I meet the right person," shift to "I am someone who attracts deep, meaningful relationships effortlessly." These small shifts in language tell your subconscious that the desired reality is not something to chase, but something to step into immediately. Another crucial technique is emotional anchoring. Throughout the day, take moments to pause and activate the emotions of your new reality. You don't need to be in meditation to do this. While walking, eating, or even doing everyday tasks, call up the emotions of already living your dream. If your new timeline includes financial freedom, tap into the feeling of security and ease right now. If it includes love, activate the sensation of being deeply connected. The more often you cultivate these emotions, the more they become your natural state, reinforcing the shift. Sensory triggers can also be a powerful tool. Small physical cues can serve as reminders of your new timeline. For example, wear a certain piece of jewelry, set a specific wallpaper on your phone, or use a unique scent when visualizing. Over time, these sensory triggers will create an automatic emotional response, helping you maintain alignment with your new reality effortlessly. The final and often overlooked practice is detaching from old habits that reinforce your current timeline. If you're shifting into a timeline of confidence and success, but your daily routine is filled with self-doubt and procrastination, your energy is still tied to your old self. Begin making small but intentional changes. Wake up earlier, adjust your posture, engage in different conversations, or consume content that aligns with your new reality. When you combine these practices and consistently live in the energy of your desired timeline, the shift becomes inevitable. Your job is not to wait for change. It's to become the change internally so that reality has no choice but to reflect it back to you. Everything we've explored leads to one simple but powerful truth. Shifting realities isn't about waiting for things to change. It's about becoming the version of yourself who is already living your desired reality. Most people get this process backward. They wait for proof, external validation, or physical changes before they allow themselves to believe that their shift is real. But the moment you stop waiting and start embodying, you align yourself with the reality you desire. Your external world is always catching up to your internal state. Every thought, emotion, and belief you hold consistently sends out a signal, determining which version of reality you experience. The mistake many make is checking reality too soon, assuming that if they don't see immediate change, nothing is happening. But just like planting a seed, there's an invisible process taking place beneath the surface. The energy shift comes first, and physical reality always follows. The key to making this shift permanent is full commitment. You can't just try to feel as if your desire is already true for a few moments and then go back to doubting. You have to live in that state as consistently as possible. And when challenges arise, when nothing seems to be moving, that's the moment to double down on your alignment. Reality will always test your level of certainty before the shift fully locks in. One of the most freeing realizations is that you don't have to struggle or force anything to make this work. When you focus on being rather than waiting, you remove resistance. You don't have to chase outcomes. You simply align with them. The version of you that already has what you desire exists right now. The faster you embody that version, the faster the external world reshapes itself to match. Trust in this process. Let go of the need to micromanage how and when things will show up. Stay committed to feeling as if your desired reality is already here, and act in ways that reflect that belief. When you stop questioning, stop seeking proof, and stop reacting to the old timeline, you fully step into the new one. Reality isn't something happening to you, it's something responding to you. You are not just a passive observer of your life. You are the one choosing which version of reality you experience. The moment you shift your focus and step into the identity of the person who already has everything you desire, Your world will begin to reflect that back to you. Your shift is happening now. Keep your energy aligned, trust the process, and watch as your chosen reality unfolds before you.